Okay. Um, Alrighty then. Okay. That's. Alright. Alright, hey guys, Anime West Reacts here. This is my reaction to Seraph of the End, chapter 131. Alright. Exoneration for everyone. So yeah, we got cover page of you, which is nice. So alright. Heaven's up there, starting the chapter off with you saying, Heaven's up there and down here is supposed to be hell, huh? And someone says, oops, it went in your direction. So it's a bear. And yeah. They fight the bear, cut it down. And he's like, sorry, but I have to eat you. Oh yeah. So you kills the bear. And then Mika, I guess, says, that makes how many now? And you says, this is the third. And so yeah, you got some pigs and bear. And then it says, we have to make sure we're always topped up on food. You have absolutely, you have absolutely horrible energy efficiency. And he says, yeah, you keep gobbling up all my strength. It's smarter to hunt for food while we're able to save the rations for when I really need them. And Mika, I guess, like, uses his sword to start a fire or something. And then he says, you butcher the meat. And he says, Kay, let me take my top off first. I don't want to get blood on it doing laundry out here. Doing laundry out here sucks. Then we got a flashback. You is thinking, I wish I could have some curry. I miss that stuff. Or, no, it's not a flashback. It's just you saying that. Then Mika says, remember the last day I was human, you swiped my share of the curry. Yeah. Swiped my share of the curry and ate it. And then Mika says, hey, I did not. I set your share aside. And then Mika says, did the kids like their last meal? And then, yeah, you just don't say anything. He says, they said they wish they could have shared it with you. And then Mika says, yeah, I figured as much. I bet it was boring without the main character around. I guess. Wow. Then Mika says, we'll just have to bring them all back and have a big curry dinner together. And then you said, you can eat? You says you can eat. And then Mika says, I'll be a human again by that point, of course. And then you says, somebody's suddenly optimistic. And Mika says, you made up your mind, right? Might as well get used to the idea, or what, are you gonna give up? And you says, no, and you could at least help me butcher these. And then Mika says, sorry, too busy, I have to think up a plan. And he's like, hey. And so we see that it becomes nighttime, the fire, I guess, dwindles down, and Mika says, so to summarize, our goal is to collect the sinful keys and bring Michaela back to life. But Gurren and Farrod are also looking for the sinful keys, and they've got a head start on us. We don't know what they're planning. And then Yu says, I get the impression Gurren's trying to bring all of humanity back to life, minus Michaela. And then Mika says, and Farrod? And he says, is there anybody on this planet who knows what goes through that guy's head? And Mika says, he's probably thinking of the most warped, twisted thing ever. And then he says, wait. But if that past we saw is true, then aren't you Michaela? And then he says, oh. And then Mika says, think for a sec. If Gurren's wish comes true, he'll bring all of humanity back to life, but Michaela, you will stay dead. Or, yeah, you basically. Current body. And then he says, this is confusing. I will? Hermika says this is confusing. And Yu says, I will. And Mika says, isn't that how it works? Bringing Michaela back requires all of the sinful keys, but bringing humanity back requires all of them too. He says, okay. But you're really the angel, Michaela. And then he says, oh, right. And when you look at it that way, our positions have totally flip-flopped. Reviving all of humanity doesn't mean squat to me. So Mika says, going through all of this, it's finally hit me. My job is to keep you safe at all costs. That's it. And he says, so that's why you're suddenly motivated. Almost as much as you were years ago. And then Mika's like, yep, you got it. All a dunce like you has to do is follow the instructions of Mika the genius. I'll save you no matter what, I promise. And then Yu says, well, you sure are excited. And then Mika says, we made it this far, you aren't allowed to die on me now. And then he's like, yeah, sure, I guess. And then he's like, hang on, I thought for sure this was the part you would say, then all we have to do is sacrifice me. And then he's like, no, I'm still confused about which one of us is which. Though the past me seemed like he was kinda smart. And then Mika says, good point. Back in the far, far, far past, you were smart, but looking at you now. And then he's like, I'm even smarter. And then Mika's like, sure you are. And Yu says, anyway, if we don't know for sure which of us is which, we can't pick yet. If we can't bring Angel Mika back to life, one or the other of us could end up dying, and we don't want that. We don't want that. And then Mika says, heck, do we know if Angel Mika is even a separate being anymore? Bringing him back requires all 7 sinful keys. What if bringing them back means who you are now goes away? I don't want that. And then, yeah, he says, I don't mind either way, really. And then Mika says, I do. And then he says, but I would care if you disappeared. And then he says, right? And he says, so let me see if I had things straight. The first goal is to bring Angel Mika back to life. Or Angel Michaela back to life. And then use Angel Michaela's life to bring all the angels back. And Gurren's goal is to use the 7 keys to bring all of humanity back. And then he says, probably, and right. And then Yu says, well, what about Angel Michaela's goal? What was that? And Mika says, from what we saw, he wanted to save the first. And then Yu says, right. But saving the first probably means letting him bring all the angels back. And then says, right. And he says, but revocation has a price. God always metes out punishment. Who will the sacrifice be this time? And yeah, we have Gurren crying over Shinya. Yeah, okay, we get a cool double page of just Gurren crying over Shinya, and then the first crying over Michaela. So yeah, and then Yu changes it up. It says, okay, my goal will be not let God punish anybody. And then Mika just makes a stern face and says, and? Yeah, Mika grabs him by the shoulder, says, you are including yourself in that statement, right? You getting brought back to life as Angel Mika only to wind up getting punished in the first place and dying in order to bring back all the angels and all the humans. I will not let that happen, understood? And Yu says, yep. You're gonna think of a way to make it all work out, right? And then it says, well, yeah. But if stuff happens to you, you have to make a choice. Promise me you won't ever decide to sacrifice yourself or everyone else. And then Yu doesn't say anything, and then Mika says, I will not help you unless you promise not to give up on yourself all the way to the very end. And Yu speaks up and says, what about the other way around? If we figure out somehow that you're actually Angel Mika, will you promise me the same thing? Don't sacrifice yourself no matter what. And then Mika's shocked. And he says, yeah, I will. And then he says, this whole damn story is about people sacrificing themselves. As long as that keeps happening, nothing will ever end. It's all one big vicious cycle of desire and obsession. And we see Gurren and Farid. And then, yeah, he says, but me, I've already died. If I have to cling to this meaningless unlife of mine, then this time I'm going to make sure we win without any sacrifices. That I promise you. And it says, you know, is it me or are you starting to sound more and more like your old self? It says, just promise me you. Say you won't give up on yourself. And then you says, are you sure you can come up with a plan? The other guys are all super smart. He says, there's Gurren, Mahiru the first, Saito, and Farah too. And Mika's like, come on, I've already got someone super smart on my side, on our side too. And then he's like, me? And then, yeah, Mika says, whatever the case, we're still the ones who were on the front lines. Everybody else thinks I'm Angel Mika. So yeah, everybody else thinks our current Mika is the Angel Mika. So if nobody else knows that it's the opposite, then I think, yeah, he says, I think I just came up with the best, most twisted plan to blow everybody else out of the water. And then he's like, oh. It's like, Lou, and it says, that's the twistedest, most warped one of us all. And he says, hey, let's do this. And then Mika says, yeah. He says, what exactly is this we're doing anyway? And all right, we got you arriving somewhere, opening a door. And yeah, we got a meeting with the vampires. And Sigmadu, you know, that's the first Dauntless car. Forgot his name, but he says, well, what an unexpected guest. Why are you here? And yeah, that's the chapter. So hope y'all enjoyed this video. If you do, make sure you like it, share it, sub to this channel. Hope y'all enjoy it. And yeah, we'll see you all later.